Hey everyone, Craig Gordon, Vice President of Prevail, and I'm joined by our President, Andrew Stafford.
Good to be here, Craig.
Andrew,
Crazy week.
It is a bit of a crazy week.
Crazy week in the markets.
But we're here.
We're here, always
and
here.
There's a lot to talk about.
Nonstop.
So if you think about, right now there's been a theme,
Yep.
kind of this great rotation.
Great rotation.
Looking at kind of where tech was, some other asset classes, other sectors. Talk a little bit about that.
Let's talk about what they mean by the great rotation, right? So if you look back at the markets, 24, 25, you had very few companies, a lot of them tech-oriented. AI kind of drove not only CapEx and spending, but it really drove the market.
It did. Well, it pulled it back and then it drove it back up again.
Yep. And when we talked about in our last session, kind of the top 7 of the S&P 500, which is a standard index a lot of people refer to, the top 7 drove the majority of the index's return.
It's huge.
493 companies were underperforming. We're actually seeing that switch. And so what I think they're referring to as the great rotation is the shift away from speculative and rapid growth assets, more back to traditional investing, right?
It's kind of the value sector.
The value sector, large cap, companies with strong balance sheets. But what's really interesting and what is causing this great rotation is the markets were primarily priced for perfection. You had valuations extremely high. And so basically when you look at reporting, quarterly reporting for all these companies, if there's a miss anywhere, whether it be revenue, earnings per share, if the guidance that they give for the next quarter isn't as good as everybody thinks it should be. We actually had companies that were beating earnings per share, maybe giving an outlook going forward on less revenue, and they're pulling back rapidly, right? So again, that just shows that the markets were priced for perfection. This is very healthy. It's very normal. No one feels good when this is happening, right? For anyone that's invested, no one feels very good when we go through these cycles. But remember, we went through this last year too, and the market still turned out pretty darn good. So where we capitalize on this, and what I like about what Prevail does, is we've continued to rotate in our own portfolios. We saw a lot of this. We pulled back. We saw valuations being pretty high. And in a lot of our portfolios, we had already started in Q4 of last year, some of this rotation.
Yeah, there's some undervalued assets that we're looking at in various sectors.
Absolutely. But for those that are home and for those that are wondering kind of what's going on, we can never predict what the markets are going to do. Slight pullbacks are generally healthy. It allows for a reset. I do think the markets were priced for perfection. So I don't think that this is a bad phase. It just makes us all feel a little bit uncomfortable. I really like where we're positioned though in our portfolios.
I think there's always opportunity when you have some sort of disruption.
100%.
If you'd like to learn more, check us out at prevailiws.com.